clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living.
Andrew Tate just demolished Jake Paul, the so-called boxing prodigy, for turning down his fight offer in favor of someone else. Jake, who's always touted himself as a fighter willing to face anyone, anywhere, suddenly seems to be dodging Tate, raising some serious suspicions. Tate isn't holding back, calling out Jake for his apparent fear of facing him. The truth is, Jake's schedule isn't exactly filled with tough challenges. He's made a name for himself by handpicking easy opponents.
Pound on the fucking internet. If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living fuck out of a fucking goofy, fucking entitled dickhead like you. You know my name.
This isn't the first time Jake Paul's bravado has collided with reality. Who could forget his open challenge to Conor McGregor, which led nowhere, or his feud with Sean Strickland? Another case of hollow posturing. Tate is spot on, saying Jake is more about chasing headlines than actually taking on tough opponents.
Versus Andrew Tate.
Wow.
But here we are, so we could talk about that side note announcement. And please go watch the episode.
Hold on a second. What you mean you versus Andrew Tate? Because no,
I'm not saying a fight. I'm saying like our back and forth. He talks shit about me and like says he wants to beat my ass or can beat my ass and all this stuff.
I think there's a better fight.
Andrew Tate has consistently criticized Jake Paul's approach, and turning down a fight with him only gave Tate more fuel for his fire. He didn't hold back, mocking Jake's excuses, from the terms not being right to vague claims about career strategy. Tate didn't sugarcoat it, calling these excuses nothing more than fear disguised in PR speak. According to Tate, Jake's entire career revolves around dodging real competition, and when you look at the facts, it's tough to argue with him.
If my brother doesn't fuck you up, I will. And it has to go down. But I don't think he...
Jake Paul's reluctance stands out even more when you look at his upcoming fight with Mike Tyson. Sure, Tyson is a legend, a name that will bring in millions of pay-per-view buys, but let's be real, he's 57 years old. Despite his legendary status, his prime was decades ago, and any fight with Jake will feel more like an exhibition than a true competition. Tate didn't hold back, calling out Jake for claiming to be a disruptor in boxing, while choosing to fight someone closer to collecting Social Security than competing at an elite level.
This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, all of which would fuck you up. I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put three.
Jake Paul's actions have raised plenty of eyebrows, especially when it comes to his reluctance to fight Andrew Tate. Jake's reputation for challenging big names without following through has become a pattern. His infamous open challenge to Conor McGregor went nowhere, as did his beef with Sean Strickland, another flashy cow-out that fizzled out. Jake's strategy is clear: generate headlines, create buzz, but never actually step into the ring with a legitimate threat. And this time, it's Andrew Tate who is calling him out. Tate has been outspoken in his criticism of Jake's approach, and turning down a fight with him only gave Tate more ammunition. He's mocked Jake's excuses, from the terms not being right to vague claims about career strategy, labeling them as nothing more than fear disguised in PR speak. Tate's point is hard to argue. Jake's entire career seems built on avoiding real competition. Looking at his record, it's easy to see how Tate might view Jake as someone who picks and chooses his opponents based on marketability, not actual challenge. The situation becomes even more glaring when considering Jake's upcoming fight with Mike Tyson. Tyson, a legend in the sport, will undoubtedly bring in pay-per-view buys by the millions. But the reality is Tyson is 57 years old. His prime is long behind him, and any fight with Jake will feel more like an exhibition than a competitive contest. Tate didn't hesitate to point this out, questioning how Jake could claim to be a disruptor in boxing, while fighting someone closer to collecting social security than competing at an elite level. This decision to face Tyson highlights the pattern Jake has followed: big names without real risk. It's not just the Tyson fight that's raising questions, it's Jake's entire career. He has consistently called out high-profile names, but failed to follow through. McGregor and Strickland are just two examples of how Jake's challenges seem designed more for the headlines than for actual competition. Tate sees through this, calling Jake out for thriving on publicity rather than fighting credible opponents. The truth is, Jake has yet to step into the ring with someone who truly tests his abilities. Andrew Tate, however, is a different story. Unlike some of Jake's other potential opponents, Tate is both qualified and willing to fight. As a seasoned professional with multiple kickboxing world championships under his belt, Tate has faced and defeated world-class competition. A fight between Tate and Jake wouldn't just be a spectacle. It would be a real test of Jake's skills. Yet, Jake continues to avoid it. Instead of stepping up, Jake has opted for the safety of hand-picked opponents who won't truly challenge him. This isn't just about Andrew Tate's frustration with Jake. It's about what this rejection means for Jake's legacy. Jake has built a reputation as someone who wants to disrupt boxing, but his actions speak louder than his words. Turning down fights with legitimate contenders like Tate undermines that narrative. Instead of revolutionizing boxing, Jake seems more interested in turning it into a reality TV show where he controls the script. And the public is catching on. Social media has been abuzz with criticism of Jake's decision, with fans starting to see through his carefully crafted image. They're beginning to realize that Jake's rise in boxing has been more about spectacle than skill. Tate, on the other hand, has gained respect for his willingness to call out the hypocrisy in the sport. His criticisms highlight a deeper issue in boxing. Jake's approach leans heavily towards showmanship, focusing on marketable matchups rather than meaningful competition. In doing so, Jake is contributing to the erosion of boxing's integrity. Tate's criticism isn't just about his personal grudge with Jake, it's about defending the sport itself. What makes this situation even more frustrating is that a fight between Jake and Tate would have been a blockbuster event. The build-up alone would have been electrifying, with both men known for their charisma and ability to hyper-fight. More importantly, it would have given Jake the chance to prove himself against a real fighter. Rejecting the fight sends a clear message that Jake isn't ready for that level of competition, and Tate is making sure everyone knows it. By turning down Tate's offer, Jake isn't just dodging an opponent. He's dodging an opportunity to prove he belongs in the ring with the best. Tate's relentless criticism has only amplified the scrutiny Jake is facing, making it harder for him to hide behind excuses. Now compare that to Tate's offer. This isn't a fight with a retired athlete or a YouTube influencer learning to box. This is a fight against a seasoned professional with years of real competition experience. If Jake truly wants to be taken seriously as a boxer, this is the kind of challenge he should be embracing, not avoiding. Jake's refusal to step up against someone like Andrew Tate only strengthens the argument that his career is more about spectacle than skill. The fans see it, the critics see it,